Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. A lot of times people tend to ask me what is the secret behind growing such beautiful succulent. Now guys, there is no secret as such. I wish there was. I would have definitely shared it with you guys. But yes, I do give full credit to my environment, to my climate in the city. It is supporting me a lot. Other than that, I give the basic care requirements for the succulents. I give them loose, porous, well-draining soil mix, which is not very high in organic matter. Apart from that, depending upon the variety of succulent, I tend to give them a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours after acclimating it. Apart from that, I do a routine check once in 2 weeks or once in 3 weeks. I do give them all my attention, but that does not mean that I go and fidget around with them or I try to move them around. I do not add fertilizers. I do not water them every day. I give them the balanced watering. At times I do a little bit of underwatering because it's little difficult to water all the succulents at the same time, and a lot of times I keep them slightly underwatered. Now guys, as I said, majority of the credit I tend to give it to my environment and climate. That is what has been supporting me so much in my hobby. Now there is another important thing that I want to share it with you guys, because this is something that I have been reading or I have been hearing this quite often, because I do chat with you guys on Instagram and Facebook, and I have seen a lot of people tend to do a lot of movement of the succulent pot. Guys, this is not going to work out really well for your succulent. Succulents do not like to be moved around, especially indoor and outdoor. I have heard some people, just because they are not getting a good amount of light, they take their succulent off for morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours and then get their succulent indoor. Guys, this is not going to work out in the long term. Probably for a month or 2 months it is going to work out really well, but over the period of time your succulent will start to have issues. It can even reach to a stage wherein your succulent will die, because moving the succulent so often, that too every day, is not going to work out really well. I only move my succulents at times once in 6 months or once in a year, only when I feel that probably the succulent is not doing quite well in that particular location. That's the only time I tend to move my succulent. You cannot afford to move the succulent every day in and out. Not only succulent, any plant for that matter. Plants do not like to be tossed around every now and then. And guys, you need to understand that the temperature, the humidity, the location, everything starts to change. There is a huge fluctuation when you get your succulent indoor, then take it outdoor, then get it indoor. This is not going to work out in the long term. Your succulent will start to have negative effects. Just because I say that your succulent needs morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, after which it requires indirect bright light, that doesn't mean that you offer every day 5 to 6 hours of morning direct sunlight and then get the succulent indoor. This is not going to work out. As you can see, you will have to find a setup wherein the succulent gets morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, after which it automatically gets indirect bright light without moving the pot. You can see all of these succulents get morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, but as soon as it gets afternoon, the wall tends to give that kind of partial shade without letting that strong afternoon sunlight fall on it. If you do not have a wall, you can probably use a green shade cloth or a polycarbonate sheet. The most important thing is, do not move your succulents quite often. That is not going to work out really well. Most of my succulents have been in the same place for almost 6 months, 7 months. This was the recent time I had moved my succulents because of the painting. After the painting was done, I completely changed the setup, and this is going to be their permanent setup for a very long time. Now, definitely, I am not blaming you guys. Your intentions are good. Definitely, you do not want to kill the succulent. You want to give the best for your succulent by offering morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. But then moving the succulent quite often, rather than it doing any good, it is going to harm your plant. If you're growing your succulent indoor, use a grow light and let it be in the same place. If you're growing your succulent outdoor, then keep it outdoor. If you receive afternoon direct sunlight, then probably you can keep a green shade cloth above so that you do not need to move your succulent quite often. But yes, a lot of times unintentionally we are trying our best to give the best for our succulent, but unfortunately that doesn't work out really well. Guys, that's all about it. Just ensure that you're giving a good amount of light Do not move your succulents quite often. Give them a good loose porous well draining soil which is not very high in organic matter. Give them a balanced watering and trust me, your succulents will do quite well. If you do not receive morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, it's absolutely okay. You do not need to be worried. You can still keep it in indirect bright light. The succulent will still do quite well. It will not stretch. Yes, there is going to be a little less color on the succulent, but that's absolutely okay because you do not have an option of morning direct sunlight. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.